I know I was on live earlier today, but when I went back to look at that video, I found that a lot of it, for some reason, got cut off. It got cut off at like the 10-minute mark, which I thought was odd because I can see, when the video stops recording, and it actually recorded for like 33 minutes. So to go back and find it to only be a 10-minute video was odd. But anyway, I'm going to speak on this topic again, and I'll speak on it now while we're doing some snake care. So this is a clean out the cage day. And also, Zendara is having some trouble shedding. I still have not gotten my humidity correct since moving from Florida, so shedding has been a little bit of a problem because the humidity has to be just right in order for them to shed. So I'm going to put both of them in the playpen, and this is the playpen. But I'm going to put Zendara into some water so that she can complete her shed for this particular cycle while I'm putting her in the playpen. So that's what we're going to be doing. She's right here looking at me like, I don't even know how I feel about that. I know, girl, it's not your favorite, but we can't keep this. We gotta evolve. We gotta go to our next level, right? We cannot hold on to our old selves. It's time to shed that skin and become the next version of you. So that's what we're gonna be working with. All right, so you guys are gonna be with me while we get this particular work done. And I'm going to grab the phone. We're gonna walk around and grab all the items we need. And when I get down to the work that can just be stationary, then y'all will just be stationary with me. But the little tub that I use to let them soak is over here. So let me grab that first. And then we'll get started with the topic again, since we're going to have to record the whole video again. Okay, had to grab the tub first. Let's move on in here. So what we were talking about this morning in the video that somehow got shortened, even though I made a 30-minute video, when I went back to look at it, the same video was, I want to say 9 minutes and 25 seconds, honestly. So first things first, we are going to get rid of all of the people who are angry to see Black women loving themselves. Those people have got to go. And then we're going to talk about the pet to threat tool. Oppressive tool is what I am deeming it as. So I was talking about this morning, there was a video that I watched yesterday. There were 3 things that happened to me yesterday. And the 3 things that happened were, first and foremost, I watched a video by a creator whose name is Marissa Price. And I will be linking a couple of her videos in the description of this video so that you'll be able to go back and look at the videos that I'm mentioning yourself for a deeper dive into this topic. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, as I was watching her video, which was a video in which she was describing in greater depth the pet to threat movement, well, not movement, but tool of oppression, my mind was blown. My mind was completely blown because I was like, oh, I've had this happen to me in so many instances and not realize that that was what was going on. So let me give you a little bit of a definition. So the pet to threat oppressive tool is used in in workplaces and schools and offices and anywhere that you have to meet a certain criteria to join or meet a certain criteria in order to be allowed to enter. So what happens with the pet to threat tool is that you are hired or you are allowed to join the organization according to the skill set that you have. So this is Dendara. As I said, she's in the middle of shedding. So we're going to put her in some water so that she can complete this shed. She does not want to go in there. So we had to drop her on in and close the top. Anyway, it's in spaces where you have to basically qualify to be in this space. And so what happens in these spaces is you are hired or you are allowed into the space because of the level of skill that you have obtained. And even further, in all honesty, because of the genius that you exhibit. So having this particular level of skill that you have obtained through repetition, through natural talent, as a member of your community, as a member of your family, that is where your level of skill comes from. And then having genius. Your genius is your innate ability to analyze information in a particular type of way. So you have genius, which is how you analyze information, and then you have skill sets, which is what you acquire with that genius. So because of your genius and your skill set, you have what it takes to be allowed into these closed and sometimes somewhat exclusive communities. So, hold on one second. We're going to let all of these people go. Got you. So you have your genius and you have your skill set that gives you the opening to join these communities. And not just that, but you actually have the qualifications that are required to be useful in those communities. This is Laveau, of course. Laveau is not in a shed. She was actually just there resting in her warm hide, and I had to unfortunately disturb her because her cage needs to be cleaned so badly. So we're gonna put her into the playpen. Dendara is already in the playpen, but Dendara is in a soak in the playpen. And Laveau will just be in the playpen by itself. And we're going to get the cages cleaned as quickly as we can so that they can get back in the warmth of their cages. So you are hired or you are accepted into the university program, or you are asked to be a cohort in this particular academic setting. You're asked to come and present about your topic. You are told that you've received the fellowship or the assistantship or the apprenticeship, whatever it was that you were applying for, in this prestigious type of setting. And so you know that you had the skills that were required to enter into this space. And the first thing that I want you to take away from this video is that you do have the skills. You having the skills is never up for debate. You having what it takes is never up for debate. You having the genius is not up for debate. So you have the skills, you get into the space, and initially everybody in the space is so impressed and they are so complimentary, and not a day goes by where they don't compliment you on your genius. And they are complimentary and they are bragging on being the one that found you, and they are walking you around and introducing you to other people and saying, oh, she's going to be such an asset to the team. We are so lucky to have her. They're asking you, can you come and work with us on this? Do you have any ideas about that? What would you do in this situation? Share your expertise on that. These things happen for a prescribed amount of time. And you're happy because you're working in an area that you have a passion for. And you're excited to have gotten the opportunity to work in an area that you're so passionate about. And you're like, oh, this is exciting. This feels good. I love to be able to share my talents. I love to be able to work in the field that I have a passion for. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, after a certain amount of time, you find that all of your actions are being heavily criticized. Suddenly, the same thing that you were hired to do, you're being told on an almost daily basis that you can't do it properly. You're being told that the simplest of tasks that you were doing, that you've been doing for months or sometimes even years, that somehow now those same simple tasks that you were receiving accolades for, and what has happened to me is the same simple task that I was also training other people to do. The same task that I was training other people to do, suddenly I'm being told that I can't do it. I'm doing it improperly. Sometimes we will even be reprimanded for doing the task improperly. Sometimes we'll even receive some sort of write-up for doing the task improperly. Now, this is the same task they hired you to do. This is the same task that got you into the system, got you into the cohort, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you are being told that you can't do this task properly. You are in trouble for not doing the task properly, and in short shrift, you go from being an asset to the company and being treated as an asset to the company to being treated as a liability to the company. And I've had this happen to me several times in my life in several different settings, and I did not have a name for it. And as I was saying this morning before my video was cut short, when you have a name for something, that helps you to recognize what is happening to you. And it helps you to understand that what is happening is not your fault. I will always say it is the right of anyone who has been harmed by narcissistic abuse to use the term narcissist. All over the internet now, you will see people who are angry with people using the term narcissist because they say you don't have the credentials to diagnose. Very few people are using the term narcissist on the internet as a diagnosis. People are using the term to name what happened to them. And it's important to be able to name that. It's important to be able to say, this is what happened to me, and now I can see that it is a systematic type of abuse. So that is the same way that I see pet or threat. This is what happened to me, and now I can see that it is a systematic tool of oppression. It's the same way that I'm using this name. It's the same way that I'm excited to finally have a name for this tool and for this type of interaction that is occurring so frequently and that so many of us are experiencing. So you have the moment when you were the pet, the moment when you were hired, the moment when your application was accepted, the moment when you got in to whatever the position was, and then after that moment has passed, you then find that you become the threat. And that is what I am referring to when I say suddenly everything that you're doing is wrong. Suddenly they have a problem with the way that you do everything. The same things that initially they were lauding you for doing, now they have an issue with the way that you're doing it. It was so freeing and liberating to hear Marissa Price talk about this because it gave me a name for what I had been going through for years and years in several different settings. So after I listened to Marissa Price's video, I was excited. I was like, okay, it's good to have a name for this. It's good to be able to name this as a tool, as a pattern, as a method that is used. Not only did Marissa name it, but she was honest about the fact that it happens largely due to the envy of the genius of the Black woman. It is something that happens because people are envious of the genius of the Black woman. And again, y'all know how I feel about that. Y'all know that I teach classes about that. Y'all know that this is what my platform is built on. And so to hear someone else say it out loud and give proof and facts behind it was moving to my soul. So we see that what we're working with when that happens to us is something that occurs when someone can see your genius and they are envious of it. And I want to take it to the next level. And this is not to say that Marissa didn't take it here, because Marissa did a magnificent job in her video. I'm going to link it for y'all in the description. The next level is that your genius is not only recognized and envied, but the power of your genius has to be harvested in order to maintain these systems. So the other thing that the pet to threat is doing is it is harvesting the power of your genius. It's harvesting it. It is actually utilizing it to grow these systems. Hold on one second. And in growing these systems, you have to be made to feel that what you are actually offering and what you actually have had to give was not useful. Because if you were made aware of the level of useful that your genius is, if you were made aware of the level of useful that you yourself are to these organizations, then you will realize that you could use that same genius for yourself. You could use that same genius to build your own pyramid as opposed to building bricks for someone else's. So while this pet to threat tool is being used, the secondary part of it is that you have to be made to believe that your genius is useless, while in actuality, it is being used to continue to create the organization. Whatever the organization is, it may be your school, it may be your office, it may be your job, it may even be your church or your religious organization. But you have to be made to feel small about your contribution so that other people can continue to have almost unlimited access to your contributions. All right, guys, I gotta clean out these bowls. So now we are in my bathroom as we're cleaning out the bowls and rinsing off all the plants and making sure that everything is completely clean and tidy. Just so everybody understands the change of scenery and the sounds and the sights that you're about to see and hear at this particular moment in the video. Because you know what? Somebody will inevitably ask, and somebody will inevitably have something to say. So we in the bathroom now, cleaning off all the little sweet snaky poo's accoutrements. So when you clean out the cage, you gotta clean off everything. And actually it helps to add to the humidity of the cage if you put everything back in there nice and damp. And so that when the heat hits everything, it will contribute to the humidity. And as I said at the beginning, I'm having issues keeping my humidity good here in Atlanta because the temperature difference is so great between here and Florida. And Florida, of course, is where I was living when I started being a snake keeper. So I'll be trying to use all of the different methods that I can use to keep my humidity on point. So this is one of the methods that I use. So Marissa made all of that clear. I was freed. I was liberated. I was renewed by her video. Please go and watch her. I'm going to share 2 of her videos in the description so that you can go and check her out for yourself. Now, after listening to Marissa, I went to work. I had to go to my own job, and I had to go teach students. And this week my students are actually presenting, so I had to go watch presentations and grade presentations and analyze student interaction while they were doing their presentations. After that, I came home, and when I got home, I had readings to do. You know, I work at the school, and then I also work for myself. And when I got home, I had readings to do, and this is when the next level of this particular revelation hit me. So the next level of this revelation, it comes from what we call Odu. So in the Yoruba cosmology, the Anago cosmology, we have something that's similar to scripture. I don't know why it's saying that I'm turned differently. I am not turned at all. All right. So we have something that's similar to scripture. And it is lyrical verses. It is beautiful poetry. It's all these different ways of gathering and disseminating information. And we refer to this 10,000-year-old information that is disseminated in a myriad of ways as Odu. So as I went to do my readings, the Odu that kept coming up was the Odu Odimeji. If you are familiar with Odimeji, then you already know where I'm about to go with this. But if you're not, I'm going to familiarize you with it today because it is within your right to be familiar with this. Hold on. Couldn't carry y'all with me as a camera in that moment because I had snaky stuff that I had to carry. So the Odu Odimeji speaks of the moment in time when the sun was born. And when Odimeji is speaking of the sun in this moment, it is speaking literally of the sun in the sky. So it speaks of the moment in time when the sun was born. Now, let's think about the qualities of the sun, right? Because Odu, as I said, they contain lyrical verse, they contain parables, and every part of an Odu should be used to teach and to learn. You should analyze deeply every part of an Odu, right? It is not something that is to only be taken literally, but it is to be deeply analyzed. It will train your mind to look at life and nature properly. So, in this Odu, the sun was born. Let us muse upon the qualities of the sun. So the sun is bright. The sun is beautiful. The sun is brilliant, right? And so as the sun was born, the sun's mother looked upon all of the qualities of the sun. And in her mother genius, she said, I must immediately make a talisman for my child. Because these qualities that come naturally to them, naturally to this child of the sun, are also going to make this child a target of envy and jealousy. 1 second. Let me get my wipes out again. I swear the snakes use more wipes than anybody in the house. So when we think about the qualities of beauty, brilliance. The sun has the ability to uncover those things that are hidden. The sun does not allow anything in its presence to remain in darkness. And the sun makes things clear that we may not have otherwise seen had the sun not been there. So these are the qualities of the sun, the natural, normal qualities of the sun. And the sun's mother, upon viewing these qualities, said it is absolutely necessary to protect this sun. It must be protected because of these magnificent qualities that it carries. It must automatically, from the moment of birth, be protected because of its inherent genius. That's what we're speaking of when we speak of the qualities of the sun. We're speaking of its inherent genius. And so the mother immediately made a talisman for her child. And the talisman included pins and needles that were sticking outward. And the pins and the needles stuck outward around the talisman and gave the talisman the look of a porcupine. That is how many pins and needles that mother of the sun put into her protection for her child. And she said, these pins and needles sticking out are to protect my child from the evil eye. They protect my child from the jealousy and the envy that are inherent with this level of genius. So as I enjoyed that magnificent video by Marissa Price, and as I was sitting there testifying, as I was sitting there agreeing, as I was sitting there getting happy in my spirit and saying, yes, this is it, this is it, I was also given later on that day the opportunity to compare it to the wisdom of our ancestors. The opportunity to see how this is a reality that has been known, right? When you come forward with all of this power and all of this beauty and all of this brilliance and all of this genius, you're going to have to, right after that, come forward with protection for that. When you come forward with all of this power and all of this beauty and all of this brilliance and all of this genius, protect yourself immediately. Do not walk around here thinking that beauty and power and genius is its own protection, as many of us have thought from the time that we were young. I know that's what I thought. Do not walk around here believing that when people say that they appreciate your beauty and your power and your genius, that they can all immediately be trusted. I know that's what I thought. Do not, when you get the job, when you get the fellowship, when you are accepted at the school, when you become a cohort, when you get these things that you're looking for, do not let your protection drop. And also be aware of the reality that this thing has a timeline. And make sure that you make it your timeline and that you're not operating on somebody else's timeline, because this thing has a timeline each and every time. That is what the wisdom of our ancestors are saying to us about this. So, pet to threat is a reality. It is a tool of oppression. It is part of the oppressive systems that we live under. Be aware of it. When you see it happening to you, don't blame yourself. Do not internalize the belief that you've done anything wrong or that anything has changed about the genius that it took for you to get into that program or get into that job or get that position. Nothing has changed. They have decided that their timeline of usefulness for you has come to an end. And you want to be the one that decides that before them. All right? Protect yourself. If you've been working with me for any amount of time, you've heard me say only protection is protection. Staying in your own lane isn't protection. Minding your own business isn't protection. Staying out of other people's business isn't protection. None of that is protection. Only protection is protection. So protect yourself spiritually each and every day. All right, that is it for me today. This is looking like 30 minutes and 19 seconds. So I'm going to check and see if it made it to that once I upload the actual video. And once I upload it, I'm going to put 2 links to the videos of Marissa Price, a magnificent thinker, speaker, scholar. And she also helps to heal people who are leaving toxic jobs. So I'm going to put a link to her video here because this video is a response to her video. So I'm going to lead and guide you over there for people who need that. As always, ecstasy, abundance, and bliss, and all of the gifts of Oshun to anyone within the sound of my voice who is wishing the same for me and mine. And as always, we wish the lessons of life on those who are ignorant enough to wish us otherwise. Hey, Alicia, so good to see you. Happy Tuesday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, all right, all right. I am going to, I know. Yes, it was so healing for me to hear the language and to then have a word for the thing that I had been experiencing, Alicia. That is so very true. All right. Yep, I've had it happen to me more than once too, Vix. I've had it happen to me in workplaces and even in school. All right. Yes, they treat your genius as a cage and also as something that they can plug into. You know, it feels like an outlet sometimes. They're just going to plug into it, get what they need, and then they're going to unplug and try their best to just leave you hanging. Yep. I hadn't thought about that, but you're correct, Vix. Male partners do this as well. Yep, nothing new under the sun. Not the fans or friends. Yes, I did a live earlier, Yolanda, and it was a 30-minute live, and it got shortened down to 9 minutes. So I erased it. And so I just came to remake it. All right, I'm going to put Marissa's 2 of the videos that I'm thinking about that Marissa made in the description box after I upload this one. Tomorrow night, since I had not mentioned it, the Circle of Rematriation will be doing a ritual to strengthen our connection with our mothers and with the genius of our mothers. If you are a member, you already have the link to join. If you're not a member, there is already a link in the description box, and you can join the membership and come and join us there, where we are always honoring the genius of our mothers and where we are using all of the spiritual tools and spiritual powers that we have to keep us connected to our mothers at all times, our living mothers and our mothers that done gone on. Let me go through and do a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of cleaning. And after that, this particular video will be done. I will never cease to be amazed at the work of trolls. It is so interesting to me. And I'm always like, how in the world are these people paid for this level of commitment that they have to bothering people who are just simply living their lives? I always wonder that, and I'm sure it will come out. And maybe somebody might already know. Somebody might already know. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to see you guys tomorrow night at the ritual. Peace.